Hi there, my name's Tyson Patterson. This is my project on Assessment 3 on social media strategy plan and content. So for my chosen subject for this project, I decided to go with Jaran Roots, which is a collaborative art expedition that spans over 3 venues. That includes the Islamic Museum of Australia, Bandura, the Bandura Homestead, and La Trobe University. What the expedition or the art expedition is trying to get out of people, or out of artists, I should say, it's both a share of the celebrations and the challenging aspects and culture context that shaped these artists' live experience, particularly when it comes to, might there be their personal experience when it comes to migration, or it may be their families' experience when it comes to migration, with a particular focus when it comes to these communities that come from Central Asia, South Asia, West Asia, North Africa, and Eastern Europe. It's a really powerful art expedition. From my experience, it's something that when I went to go there, I thought it was very moving, and which is why I fundamentally chose this project. The goals that I set for this project was, as a whole, is to increase attendance for the Jaran Roots expedition. This was the main goal, is what we're trying to do, is we're trying to let people know that this expedition is going on and that they should go to it. And then they put these little points down here, which includes building up brand awareness, but also user engagement online to fundamentally funnel to this end goal here. Yeah, so the target audience being on a social media project, our target audience was young people, and zoning down to those people who have either a background or interest in art, culture, history, or migration. With that last element, I think it's really important. It's there's looking people who have that migration background, either from first lived experience or it's a family relative, as I said before. For me personally, I had a wonderful time going to the art expedition, and it was important to me because my family, who has a Maltese background, immigrating in the early 50s, it was really interesting to see the difference that between my family's story of migration, of when they come through here, and hearing those stories to the stories that these artists tell through their artwork, and the different I suppose cultural and lived experiences that these artists went through, and how different it is, and how it shaped their communities themselves as individuals in the modern day. In terms of platforms, this is kind of building on a little bit on the previous point. I decided to go with Instagram, TikTok, and X. Instagram and TikTok being the 2 biggest platforms that host young people, and X still having that little bit of that community there, but particularly with this project, which was what I wanted to do. For me, with this project, I took a lot of inspiration from what what I saw at the NGV and what they did, and they seem to be the 3 most active social media platforms for them. And you'll see through a lot of my content that a lot of it's inspired from what they've produced, and it's just a really effective way of trying to get people out there, especially for these art expeditions. Content strategy. So I've divided up into 4 points here. Instagram, it's more that focus on informative tiles that go into a little bit more detail than other social media platforms. From my experience working in the industry, this is the space where you have there's multiple slides, you have a nice catchy start, which is what I've attempted over here, that you can see, and it goes into a little bit more detail about what the Jaran Roots expedition is all about. I've actually got one Here we are. So here's a little bit of an example of what we have going on here. TikTok, short, sweet content posts that grab the attention of your audience. Again, going back to my experience in the industry, it's if you're trying to get a message out there, people aren't going to listen to those long 2-minute videos. Usually user attention drops by the 30 second mark, and that's being generous. And that's why over here we focus a lot more when it comes to I suppose that youthful meme kind of background. It's to grab people's attention, have a look at the page, and go back here and hopefully have a look at our other platforms and maybe give the expedition a go, trying to get that message out there. X, a lot of text posts that tell a story. You want to get that hook in early, which is we try and do for all these other posts as well across the platforms. And it goes into like a little bit more detail, and you have the ability, and we'll show it here, to go into that detail, not content heavily, but it allows to tell more of a story. And then down the bottom, I've got down legal requirements. So when possible, I try my best to source as much of the material as I can. The background that you see in a lot of the posts and the fundamental style that I chose was actually an old film photo which I had developed, and I just thought that worked relatively well. And just try to keep it to a minimal level. And when done, such as this example here, where we have a photo from the actual from an article that La Trobe University published, we actually go through and we go to source where this image was from. And that's how I'm meeting our legal requirements, making sure we're not breaking any copyright or infringing on anyone's copyright, and everything is all well. Here's a little bit of an example I've kind of gone over in the previous slide about a few of the contents we have. This is over here in the top right hand corner are some examples that we've done for Instagram. This is the overall logo and feel that we went with for this project. Just something to give it a little bit more of its a personality, and something give the social media element and the online presence more of its own branding, its own vibe. And then here we have a banner that we've used for the background, which advertises the times, the dates, I should say, for where each one's going, so people can quickly click on Twitter. You've got the details up here, and that's directly inspired from what the NGV does with some of its art expeditions. So the main part that we've got here is engagement strategy. We want to get that hook in quickly with trending video content, flashy social media tiles on Instagram. So with our engagement strategy, there's obviously the basics one. Those were like responding to comments. Another on Instagram to try and boost engagement. We did a post about running a competition. The expedition was running a competition. To have artists' work displayed at future expeditions, which I thought was a way to try and build up that awareness, but also get the community involved, and the Tell Your Story project. And it was pretty much just a way that we can try and boost that engagement and try and get people out there. Measurement and evaluation. So these are our KPIs. So obviously we'll be looking at likes, shares, growth in followers over time. That's a really important aspect, and also new user engagement on new posts. So that's views. Thankful. Twitter has obviously all the forms of social media. They all have an area where you can look at these. Twitter's a little bit difficult in terms of measurement. It's a lot of that's kind of just manually having a look at going back and forward between posts. Instagram if you're running a business account, has a really good application where you can actually see over time the engagement per post and over time and how much you're getting that. And then also obviously with TikTok, you can see, you can break that down into views and how many people have making it to your page and having a look and pressing on, okay, what's more to this page, both in likes and follows.